In RenderWare Studio, return to the list of interfaces. Select the Game Camera behavior from the list, and as we did with the light, drag it into the main game folder. When you drop, the Game Camera creates a Game Camera entity. Select the new entity to display its attributes in the Attribute Editor. As with the light that we just configured, there are options that enable you to set up the camera so that it will do what you need it to. Set the Render Camera Frustum attribute to True, and then move across to the perspective view and zoom out from the world. On the target, you will see a yellow pyramid shape that represents the game camera's frustum. As you can see, the camera's far render clip plane is set too far out by default, but that's easy to change. Find the far clip parameter in the attribute editor and use the slider to lower its value. Something around 8000 is good. As you do so, you will see the clip plane on the target update. Toggle the director's camera on and off. You will find that now you have a second game camera in the scene, and the view on the target switches between the two. At the moment, however, the camera is static. You will need to add another behavior to enable you to move it through the world. Once again, return to the list of interfaces and this time drag the behavior Game Controller Win to the Game folder. This behavior will govern which controller movements control the camera. To start making that association, you will need to set up some messaging to link it with the game camera behavior. For that purpose, you can arrange for events to be sent from one entity to another. Select the Event Map Viewer tab in the central pane of the RenderWare Studio UI. In addition, select the Event Groups tab on the left-hand side of the UI. The Event Map Viewer is initially empty, so the first step is to create a new event map for your project. Right-click on the root Event Groups node and then select New Event Map from the list. Name the new event map My Map. Drag My Map into the Event Map Viewer. When you drop, the empty event map is displayed. The Event Map Viewer provides an easy way of visualizing the contents of event groups, the entities that populate them, and the events that are sent and received between different entities and groups. Right-click on the root again, and this time choose New Event Group. Use this procedure to create two event groups. Call one Camera and the other Controller. You can think of event groups as container nodes that contain one or more entities. The entities can then be wired to send messages to other event groups, where they can be received by any entities that those groups contain. Drag the empty event groups into the event map. You will see blue boxes representing each group, with the group name in the bar at the top. The initial positions of the groups are arbitrary, and you will likely want to adjust their positions. You can navigate within the viewer by holding down the mouse wheel and dragging to pan your position and rotating the wheel to zoom in and out. When you select a group, its border turns red to signify the fact. You can then drag the selected group around in the viewer until you are happy with its position. Next, drag the Game Controller Win entity from the active folder in the Project Explorer to the Controller Event group in the Event Map Viewer. The entity is added as a child of the group. Drag the Game Camera entity to the Camera group. Now you've set up two event groups, each containing a single entity. Next, you need to set up communication between the groups so that the game camera moves when the controller tells it to. Take a look at the attributes for the controller in the Attribute Editor. The list includes an Enquire Target Event attribute that you can also see in the Game Controller Win entity in the Event Map Viewer. At the moment, the attribute is in its Not Set state. Click on the blue semicircle at the right-hand end of the attribute label to start the process of connecting the message from one entity to the other. Drag the now red semicircle to the other event group's input, that is, the blue semicircle at the left-hand end of the event group's title bar. Once this connection is made, the red highlighting disappears and the connecting wire defaults to blue. In the Game Camera Entities attribute list, locate the Camera Type attribute and set it to Flight. The camera position and direction are now under the direct control of the Game Controller Win behavior. When you look through the director's camera and move the mouse left and right in the active target, you will see the game camera frustum follow the motion. Switch from the director's camera to the game camera, and you can now control your passage through the world by means of the specified keys. Notice also that in the design view, the camera and the game controller entities are now linked by a green line, with chevrons indicating the communication that is taking place between them. Finally, for this lesson, we can add some render effects. Fogging is available on all target platforms, and attributes for this effect are exposed in the game camera behavior. Once again, select the camera entity and then select the Enable Fogging attribute in the attribute editor. The camera view on the target darkens immediately. Enable the fog color swatch by clicking the small button to the right and then use the color picker to select a more fog-like color. Now adjust the near and far fog distance values to get a suitable density. Notice how all these changes update on the target in real time. Notice also that the full screen effect works only when the game camera is the active view. Fog will not render when the director's camera is the active camera. When you're satisfied, save your project.